that time of week once more for Muji and Dan to give you the comic store. It's time to open up those bags and boards, fans. Welcome to Get Your Pulls.
Welcome to Get Your Pulls, number 89, where the gang is back and Muji's about to die. It's Muji.
No. It is Muji, it's Dan.
Todd Johnston.
We got Todd here. Not a lot of pulls. It's going to be a brief one this week. Probably good for me, since I feel like it's about time to RIP.
Muji, all right.
But
Muji's gonna go home and fucking take the black.
yeah, I'm going to go home and join the Warrior. Maybe. I don't know if I want to go where he's going. I don't know where he went. But
To the fucking One Warrior Nation, motherfucker.
that's true. He probably became the first dude, like he's just by himself. He's like, it worked. Can't wait for some of these other motherfuckers to get here.
They did it.
So I guess we'll go ahead and dedicate, since I didn't do any sort of recent Midnight Black Masses, we'll just briefly go ahead and dedicate this episode to the memory of the Ultimate Warrior. Rest in peace, friend.
Yes, Ultimate Warrior. You know, one of the most comic book looking characters in wrestling of all time.
Oh, there's a comic book connection. He wrote a comic. He still had warehouses of that comic when he died.
And that's crazy too. Yeah, I do have like the first couple of issues, and they shot up like crazy on eBay.
Oh yeah.
But I'm sure as soon as somebody figures out that there's like 100,000 of them in a storage unit somewhere, then those prices are going to go right back down. And they were, as you would imagine, written by the Warrior. You're fucking like just babbling and just incomprehensible. Or just like, oh, this comic happened. But
It happened in that weird time in like 1996 when he came back to the WWF. So it was already after that initial period where he was like super hot.
Yeah,
At this point, he was so over before he'd gained the ability to like get a comic put out by them and things like that. So they were really trusting him. But nonetheless, like a huge influence as a kid. You know, you saw the face paint and the muscles and the tassels and the metal music. And he was certainly an attraction. And a lot of traditional wrestlers that I work with in the business say he was the drizzling shits. And as a mechanic, I'm sure he was. But that motherfucker sold tickets.
yeah, there's
He's
only
one of the big ones.
there's only a few people that actually sold tickets in wrestling, and he's one of them. So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So we'll go on to. Got no news, so we're just gonna go straight back.
No news. Well, whenever we get together, we like to go back to the long box. This week I have the final chapter of Spider-Man to commemorate. They're about to relaunch Amazing, of course, here in a few weeks' time. So I thought I'd talk about the last time they rebooted the Spideyverse. It's a 4-issue series. I'll just touch on each one, a few highlights here and there to conserve time.
Sure, as our resident Spider-Man expert, I do have a question on that, Todd, or maybe not a question, maybe a comment/question, maybe a little bit of an amalgam of both. So it's interesting that you said it's a reboot, because they have rebooted Spidey in many times, but also the original continuity still stands, so there's been many retcons in between. So, like, as the Ultimate Spider fan here, where does this rank in terms of reboots and, like, what it brings to the overall Spider-Man mythos? Well, and maybe that's a question for after you're done reviewing it. But
that's fine.
With all the various Spider-Man continuity, you know, I'm interested.
Well, this is the first time they ever renumbered Amazing Spider-Man. So that's, like, the big thing. And it's also, I mean, they canceled Web of Spider-Man kind of at the tail end of the Clone Saga, and they had Sensational, Spectacular, and Amazing, and Peter Parker Spider-Man. We'll get into that later. But this is the first time they're trying to streamline everything. They had 4 books, and they wanted it to get down to about 3, and they had another one that I don't have much interest in, because Spectacular was always kind of an anthology. Like, it didn't have one creative team for a long period of time. So they tried to revamp that in Web Spinners. And I didn't really read any of that. But the other 3 big ones that come out of this, I mean, impact-wise, I'd say it's kind of a soft reboot. Because, I mean, not really much changes. They kept the main writer for most of these issues, Howard Mackey, and kind of gave him the keys to the kingdom. Because before this, there were 4 writers, 4 artists. and then reboot with two main titles, Amazing and Peter Parker. He wrote both of them, and then they went their separate ways. And the third book which I'll talk about next time I'm here next week or 2 weeks from now, whenever that happens.
Well, whenever I show back up again.
An attempt to go back and almost do a retelling of the initial Stan Lee, Steve Ditko Spider-Man story prior to Ultimate Spider-Man. So it's called Spider-Man Chapter 1, so maybe it didn't work out, but we'll see how that works out next time. But, yeah, I was totally into this stuff at the time. It's, of course, 1998, which is my golden era of comics, so I got to bring the 98 Spidey with me here. The first one is Amazing Spider-Man 441, which is the end of Volume 1 Amazing Spider-Man. And it's probably the shittiest of all four. It's like they gave up. John Byrne was coming in to do the art for Amazing, and also Spider-Man Chapter 1. So they decided to let him write the first chapter of this, and it shows that he is clearly not a writer at all. But the first issue is Norman Osborn's finally come back, after he had kind of an involvement near the end of the Clone Saga. But this is him coming back, properly to be a threat to Spider-Man again, and he gathers these 5 people together to do the Gathering of the Five. It's like a weird pseudo-mystic satanic ritual where they're all going to gain one of 5 powers. The only problem is 2 of the powers are madness and death, so somebody's going to die, somebody's going to turn mad. The other ones are a lot more better. Power, knowledge, or immortality. And when they're going through these, they
roll
just
the dice. They
just roll the dice. You got your piece, you put it in, and what happens, happens. Well, Madam Web dies right off. She's the first one.
Killed the chick. Ah, comments.
The other ones, when they put their piece in, he kind of just judges by what they say. It's like, oh, my hand's tingling. Oh, that's power. Or, no, it wasn't power, something else. And some other guy says, oh, my mind, blah. He starts babbling. So he's like, oh, well, he got madness. And then Norman Osborn just assumes he gets power after he gets his. Of course, he's fucking batshit insane. You find out later he is clearly gone mad. And that's what happens in The Amazing Spider-Man. He gets his new costume here, which I don't think they ever brought this back. It was just for the storyline, but it's a cool redo of the Goblin costume.
Oh, yeah, I have this in trade, and I haven't read it. This is one of those that I'm like, oh, I need to read that, and I never got around to it.
One of those $5 Dragon Con books.
Yeah.
One of the 3 for 10s.
There are a couple of good issues within the 4, but all 4 covers are done by John Byrne, and they're beautiful covers. Especially the Peter Parker number 97, and for whatever reason, they left out Sensational. They went ahead and ended it with the last storyline. They're like, it's not selling too well, so they're not going to include it in the final chapter. And Peter Parker, we have Peter Parker Spider-Man, I should say, when it gets rebooted, it is actual Volume 1 Peter Parker Spider-Man. This was Spider-Man, like the McFarlane run when he started his own book. But they later renamed it Peter Parker Spider-Man after the Clone Saga to get people to come back. It's like, hey, Peter Parker's in a book. And it actually kind of became the highlight of the Spider-Verse. Like, Amazing was kind of faltering. But this had Howard Mackey and John Romita Jr. on art. So I don't think I need to say much about that, since I already have pretty much every episode. But we get a cool confrontation between Goblin and Spidey in this one. You find out that Goblin has revealed that he has captured May Parker, which apparently Mary Jane had a miscarriage, and that's what they were going to name their baby. So he just assumes that the baby survived somehow, and that's what he's going to rescue from the Green Goblin. But no, we find out that he has in captivity the Aunt May Parker, who up until this point had died in issue 400, like back Clone Saga era. So it's a huge shock.
More like to call it the bad old days.
Yeah, the bad old days. Moving on to the Spectacular Spider-Man, which is the longest running other Spider-Man book. We get Mackie on the writing again, and Luke Ross, who does a pretty capable job of drawing Spidey. He's not the best artist, but It's a pretty solid issue. You find out that Spider-Man takes the Aunt May to Reed Richards. He thinks it's like, oh, it's got to be a clone, something like that. But lo and behold, he had Norman Osborn put an actress in place to play the role of Aunt May, and that's who had a stroke and died in issue 400. So this is the real deal Aunt May coming
So
back.
that's how you do a retcon.
Yeah.
A plot worthy
The
of
retcon.
Mysterio.
Yeah,
Ooh.
exactly. It would make way more sense if Mysterio was involved. And the highlight would be Peter Parker, number 98, from 1998 here. It has a double
The year of
cover.
our Todd.
Yes.
The year of our Todd. At the end of Spectacular, it makes it seem like Green Goblin has revealed Spider-Man's identity to everyone at the Daily Bugle while simultaneously pumpkin bombing the shit out of the place. But you find out he's just, like, he's gone mad. And he's already been incapacitated by Peter Parker. He's just, like, ranting and raving about, I killed Spider-Man. It's actually got a cool double cover here. You see, oh, Spider-Man's okay. He's not dead.
Nice.
But yeah, you got a cool kind of Superman moment from Spider-Man, which you usually don't see him doing stuff like Superman would do, like the big strong man. I have to, like, the Daily Bugle's about to collapse. So Spider-Man wedges himself up on the corner, and he just is holding up this building. And it's kind of reminiscent of that old Stan Lee story where, like, the whole issue, he's, like, under that massive shit the whole time. He's, like, at the very end, he's like, fuck this, and he just picks it up. Well, that's kind of what happens here. But it's no less, you know, a cool-ass Spidey moment in the capable hands of Romita Jr. And he lifts it and fucking... I mean, it's kind of ridiculous what happens, but it's a cool... There's no dialogue through this one sequence, but it's Spider-Man taking and wedging some I-beams under it and using a ridiculous amount of webbing to support the Daily Bugle. It's like... It's ridiculous, but I mean, you can see him looking at the scripts like, this is stupid, but I'll give it my best go. And you see him, like, actually pulling his belt out and, like, reloading cartridges and letting them drop and just fucking webbing like hell. And it's pretty cool. At the end, he decides that he's not going to be Spider-Man anymore again. And he dumps the costume in the hobo can, like you always see. He sets it on fire. And that's how it ends. And you know, it's stupid because you know next month there's going to be Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, they've already announced it, yeah.
So
yeah, Spider-Man has a real problem with, like, I'm guessing if you want to steal Peter Parker's identity, if he's just as loose with his mail as he is with his costumes,
yeah.
he's probably, like, having to cancel credit cards all the time. He's like, oh yeah. I don't know what to do with this old Social Security card. I guess I'll just throw it out in this alley where anybody can find it.
Well, they made a series out of that, in, like, around the 98 timeline, the Slingers series, where he had 4 different identities.
Yeah.
And then some kids find a big crate of his costumes and take on those roles just so they can keep those names. Which I liked. I mean, it didn't last long, but it was a cool little series.
That's pretty funny.
Well, yeah, so soft reboot, but
I'm going to go
it was alright.
back to the bookshelf.
Nice.
This talk about this Wonder Woman, which is brand new. It's about a week.
Woman War.
It's about a week old, but the issues are issues 18 through 23. That's, you know, like 7 months old for the most recent one. So
Yeah.
That's exactly 7 months old.
So way to go. And it starts out on number 18, which is a fucking year ago. So DC fucking put
The worst.
get these trades.
wait.
Get these trades going a little bit quicker, yeah.
Waiter's gonna wait.
But at least I remember reading online where Wonder Woman number 23, people were going bonkers over it, saying it was the best issue in the whole series.
Yeah.
And so I kind of forgotten about that because, you know, as we said, that was a few months ago.
Yeah, really.
But when I got it, and it got about halfway through it, I was like, oh wait, this has got to be the one everybody's going nuts on, and looked, and sure enough, because this is great. This is a great volume. I know Azarel and Chang still have a couple more issues, I guess. They announced that they're leaving the book, but they got a couple more, so it's probably another 2 trades worth.
Oh, yeah.
But this is really puts the finishing touches on, like, their whole first story that had been going on for almost 2 years. And it's great. The whole thing's great. Basically, you get to catch up, you know, as you know, the past, like, few, Wonder Woman has put together her little band of misfits, which includes some gods from Olympus and Orion and a baby.
And a baby.
Yes, and Most recently, I remember in the last trade, I think it was, most recently, Hera now is with her too. Anybody basically who's not in good with the other gods on Olympus is hanging out with her. And you get the finish of the story of the firstborn. Remember that? That was the god that had been born and had been trapped and finally got out and had decided they were going to go up to Mount Olympus and, take out the gods and call them. But of course, they got to take out. They know there's a threat. The little baby that was born that's going on the series is now the last born, the last son of Zeus. So he figures he's got to kill it first before he goes to take out the other gods. And it's just awesome. It's awesome for everything. You get to see all the relationships in the book that Wonder Woman basically had with like a lot of the other characters finally pay off with each other. You get to see Orion, who's been kind of a dipshit, get some redemption and doing something cool for once in the book. And you get to see an epic battle between Wonder Woman, and they finally pay off. In some of the first issues, they finally explain after all these years how Wonder Woman got so awesome at fighting and everything. Now this new storyline where she's an actual, god from Mount Olympus has that blood in her. It actually showed, that she was trained by the god of war to be badass. And, and then he pops back up finally, and you get to see where that story was going. The payoff of the fact that, he had been training her, like her whole young life. And it's just awesome. There's some crazy stuff happening in it. There's a couple deaths. I won't say who, but there's a couple people die. And it's really sad for one of them.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's like a true epic conclusion to this first story. And not to mention, like, all the main characters in the book come out of it, way more interesting and way more developed than they were before. And it's only even like a small page, but you get to see remember when I laughed when we watched the Thor 2 and as Dan does, the day after any Marvel movie, he loves the wall, but he comes back a little bit on him, just a little normally. But after Thor 2, where he's talking about the funeral, the funeral, spoilers, I haven't seen it, but Thor's mom dies, and the funeral, how it rivaled, like Spock and Star Trek and stuff, which I was like, I don't think that's true. That was a quote for you the day after. That's your day after.
I thought it was fantastic.
That's your day after quotes.
Still in the afterglow.
Yeah,
I was on Blu-ray. It was pretty fantastic. But like there in the theater, with the fucking music pumping and the Disney, like it was pretty fucking good.
Yeah, it's decent, but it's like a 4 on the level of Spock's a 10. Where that would be like if in Justice League, Spock dying is like if in Justice League, Superman was having to fucking do Batman's funeral.
Yeah.
And this is like if in Justice League they had to do the funeral of like, fucking...
Mark Kent?
Yes, Mark Kent. Yeah, not as big of a deal.
10 out of 10.
Decent little moment, but somebody who spent two movies had about 11 minutes of screen time. This, on the other hand, at the end, there's a funeral. It doesn't rival Spock, but I think it'll give you the feelings that you got from that Thor, or probably even more, because the person who dies in here is in this thing a bunch, unlike Thor's mom. But there is a really sad funeral. What I'm getting at is there is a very sad funeral scene in this that is worthy of the praise, I think. But
awesome.
Anyways, that's it for the long box. We'll go to pulls. Actually, on second thought, we should probably save DC, because that's probably where we want to go with the pick, I'm guessing.
I mean, yeah.
So that's cool. So we'll start out with, just fuck it. We'll start out with good and end with good. We'll start out with the indies.
Okay.
Works for me.
We'll just start out with Walking Dead. Start out with a bang.
Fun.
Biggity bang boom.
Non-spoiler version.
Wow.
Bang.
Non-spoiler version?
Well, Todd's here.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's the next to last issue of the
All Out War.
It's usually when some shit happens as far as storylines go.
Yeah. And you get the final, this is the spoilers, you of course get what you expected, a final standoff, a little meeting there, a fucking OK Corral type meeting between Rick and Negan. And it's great. It's one of those issues that it's probably like half dialogue and it's just a conversation between Rick and Negan, but it's badass.
It's butthole clenching dialogue the entire time because that
something's
the
about to
worst
happen.
shit is just about to
Yeah,
pop
you're
out.
waiting on
Like,
somebody. That's the thing is, that's it. It's like an Eastwood movie. You're waiting on somebody to draw.
Yeah,
It's like all this talking is great and it makes sense and it seems like you're talking each other down, but somebody's gonna pull the draw. And when it happens, yeah, and when it happens, it's badass.
And it was a beautiful. Speaking of, it was a beautiful page turn reveal. Like,
nice.
on the very last page, you get to see who draws.
It's
and
super rewarding when that goes off.
Yeah.
Like, well, yeah.
I mean, really going to be interested to see what they do with issue 12, because if what we've seen is to be believed, then that draw was successful.
Yeah, well, there'll still be a lot of mess to clean up, like
Yeah.
based on what happened at the end of that issue, and you don't know.
But we only got a taste, you know.
And-
Walking Dead's good about
and
the
it's Walking Dead.
cliffhangers. Yeah,
A lot of people have seemed to be fucked and not been fucked in Walking Dead.
Oh, I mean, Carl got his head fucking blown off almost,
Yeah.
and then like, you know,
and then a lot of people seem like
in
you're
the
like,
cliffhanger last issue,
Yeah.
and then he comes back. He's like, "Oh, I just got my eye."
Oh,
and there's a lot of people like Tyrese who are like, nah, he's fine. They won't do anything to him. They won't do anything to him. No, he's dead. He's dead now. Spoilers, but that's from like fucking
yeah, it's a
6
while
or
back.
7 years ago now in comic book
I'm at
time.
least-
So fuck you.
I'm at least that caught up. To Walking Dead.
That's still the first compendium. If you haven't read
Yeah.
that, then go fuck yourself.
Yeah, really.
It's been
But,
a while.
I mean,
since that's been out.
11 out of 12 into All Out War, and I'd say at this point you probably don't want to try to pick up the singles. I'd just wait. That trade will be coming out anytime now. So
They generally drop them the week of or week after when the stories come, so I'm guessing the trade. I don't know with this double one. I don't know if the trades are going to do 2 trades, because generally little paperbacks are 6 issues each. So I guess they may do 2 of them, but these have been coming out so quickly. I don't know how that's going to mess with their schedule, but it's very likely.
they may just do it as one big collection.
They may just do it as one big one, yeah, but it's very likely that in 2 weeks when the last issue comes out, that either that week or the week after, you can just go read the whole thing and get caught up, which will be fun for you.
Yeah.
All right, and you got
Starlight number 2. This is actually from last week, but still relevant, still hot on the shelves there.
with the way that I've been getting like issues, like yeah, we have some from last week all the time. I'm still waiting on that fucking Moon Knight.
Oh yeah, we
Oh,
always
yeah,
get
yeah.
fucked
We keep
by
getting shorted by a
Diamond.
week or 2 at a
Oh,
time. Yeah,
damn, yeah.
Like, they always
It's only
screw our
happened to me
comic
once
shop.
so far, but
you got like 4
it
pulls.
happens, yeah.
Come on.
You know, we're talking when we're talking fresh off the pull. We're like within the last month. It's recent. You know,
Yeah.
it's recent. People have maybe not have got out to the comic book store and
Yeah.
got caught up. So it's we're
That's
good.
cool.
Yeah, if you're like, hey man, did you hear they rebooted the New 52? That's back to the longbox.
Damn, yeah, that's a while back there. Starlight number 2. I thought it might lose a little bit of steam. I mean, it's a quiet issue. I mean, the first one was kind of quiet, but
There's a great setup in the first one.
yeah,
Man, that first issue was really good.
It
I
was
read that. Yeah, that was
emotionally-
fantastic.
you know, wrenching kind of issue.
Yeah.
And it's just more of the same here. It's like it's a master work of simplicity. Like the artwork it's just really crisp and clear. It's not overly detailed. I mean, it's kind of almost cartoony, but not really. But like the very first page is a splash page, and it tells you like volumes about what the story's about. This kid stepping off of a starship saying, "Don't shoot me, I'm only 86," and it's like immediately draws you into the story. It's like, what the hell?
Nice.
What's happening? So this kid has come back to bring Duke McQueen back to his home planet because things have apparently gone to hell.
Well, as well
Yeah.
he should, because everybody on this planet treated him
Yeah.
like shit in the last issue.
Everybody's turned his
so-
back. His wife
shit,
has
man.
passed away, so he has nothing to lose. But at the same time, he's like, you really kind of feel for him. He's like, I'm a 60-year-old man. I'm a grandfather. I can't hop around in spaceships and stuff. And then he tells you what's at stake. The Brotians. It's kind of sounds funny, but the Brotians have come and pretty much enslaved their planet because they
Brosians?
have since Brosians. They've kind of lost their way of being able to defend themselves since they're no longer kind of, had the big monarch guy, the despo, controlling their whole world. So they got to bring him back in. And it's just a delight to read. And the artwork is, like I said, simple and just really expressive, like how he draws the faces. It's cartoony without being a cartoon, I guess I should say.
Nice.
Yeah, it looks like a really solid book. I can't wait for the next issue, whenever that may be.
Sweet.
Fan-fucking-tastic.
All right, and then
Next on the docket.
Let's go to Marvel. Got a couple $5 books here, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Marvel was gouging this week.
They really
Yeah.
are, to varying degrees of success.
Got a Daredevil, number 1.5. 1.50, because it's 50-year-old
Yeah.
Daredevil. That's what this book's about.
Oh, nice.
It's pretty cool, but I remember like all the praise I gave the Daredevil previous series. I'm like, man, it's only $3, and you get all this great stuff. And with the new series, they're like, not only is it $4, but a week after it comes out, you're gonna pay $5 for another random issue. You fucks, you're gonna pay.
You're gonna pay $5 for an issue that's not in continuity with what you're
Yeah.
fucking reading right now.
You're gonna motherfucking pay for all of that goodness that you got on the cheap. But it's cool. It's another one of these rando anniversary type things. Like, we gotta do something because it's some kind of anniversary by some of our freaking guerrilla math. We figured out that this is like an anniversary, even though it's probably not. But it was pretty good. Yeah, it's a bunch of different stuff in here. You get to see a bunch of different stuff. It's you got Wade Bendis writes the story in here, so it's oversized. It's pretty cool, but I could have done without the $5 book. Like, it was pretty good, but if they would have just not put this book out, then okay. It'd have been okay.
Yeah, like sometimes it's worth the $5. Like, you get a
More
good story.
more times
and
than
you
not,
feel like you got
I
your
found
money.
it's not. There have been a few times it has been.
Like Spider-Man 700, where it's like
yeah,
good story, cool backup content, but then two
So-
crappy stories that
Yeah.
have no place anywhere.
there's at least like some good stuff in there. I feel the true ripoffs was the detective that was the
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. Yeah.
the really good one I thought was worth it was the one that came out, Detective 27, where we had all the different stories from the different writers and stuff, and I like that one a lot. But then the one that came out a
Yeah.
few months before that would have been like Detective, I guess like 900 or something. That was just another I showed up randomly like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, this month week Detective Comics is $8.
Get your wallet out.
Like almost all the stories in it sucked. Like the only decent one was like the story that was like the in continuity story, and I was just like, I was mega bummed.
Sometimes it just doesn't work. The
Yeah.
execution kind of fails.
Yeah, I guess a little bit. I liked it probably better than Daredevil. Was this another $5 all new
Yeah.
X-Men? It's the monumental 25th issue of, so they're selling you on that. 25 is now a number with the way that they canceled Restart books.
Yeah,
that
I was
they're
surprised
proud of.
that
Like,
they did that
we
with
did
25.
We did 25 of them in fucking 11 months. We've pumped out 25 of these. Aren't you glad it's still the same volume? Like, you asked for us not to restart the volume, you clowns. So now you got to pay $5 for it. But it was cool coming out of the Trial of Jean Grey.
It's just like a whole bunch of splash pages for the most part.
It
Except
is.
for a couple, yeah.
It is, and also too, man. They also throw in like it feels like you're getting more than what you're getting because they also throw in a bunch of these really thick previews for their other books.
Yeah.
There's two of them that really,
Yeah,
when
that
you take
really
when you take those out, it
weighs
doesn't
it
make
down.
it doesn't make this book like that thick. It really makes you feel like it probably should not have been that.
could
It
have
almost
knocked a
feels
couple of cents off there.
it almost feels like they've made you pay for them to show you advertisements, like you're paying Marvel. Actually,
It's got a good cast of random artists here and there.
yeah.
I mean, for the most part, it's really good stuff. Like, I really like the Art Adams part where it shows the Savage Beast fighting dinosaurs. That's probably one of my favorite highlights. See him just break loose.
Man, they had that going all over Marvel this month.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just counted up. You get 32 pages, which is what a lot of the $4 DC books just are. So by them giving you the extra few pages, they jumped it up to $5 this book. So it was decent, but it does add to the fact that all new X-Men, as much as I liked it, all the double shipping and the crazy, like I asked me to pay $5 for this thing, stuff like that. If I have to cut something, which I don't plan on, got a job interview if you guys care at home. So I'm gonna have some money, so then I won't drop it. But if I do get in dire straits, it's like top of the list to go, just because, now this month you're asking me to pay $9 for this story.
Yeah, well, speaking of getting asked to pay $9 as this thing comes, $9.99 plus tax. With the old discount at the comic book store, the tax got shaved, but still,
That's a massive book.
That's a $10 comic right there, my
my
friend.
wallet got shaved. It's huge. I mean, like, they tried to deliver the money. However, like, the main story that's in continuity is about fucking 10 pages long, if that.
Oh.
it's good.
Boo.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good. Like, I have, like, Dugan and Posehn have been fucking phenomenal on Deadpool. They've been the best, I dare say, better than the Joe Kelly stuff. Like, that's my opinion. I've read it all. Like, and I, like, everybody, I didn't come up with that, so I don't have the sentimentality towards it or the nostalgia.
Fanboy,
You know, I don't like nostalgia is so powerful on so many things, you know. But so I didn't have that nostalgia towards that, and it makes me laugh so much more. But that being said, okay, the majority of the issue were several short stories, lots of cool stuff. Every person who's ever worked on Deadpool, they got to do this. So I mean, if you're a big Deadpool fan,
Did they get Layfield?
yeah, there's a couple
sweet.
of Layfield art pages, like only like 1 or 2 pages of his art in one of the stories. But they even Gail Simone, the much maligned Gail Simone from her Deadpool run that most everyone universally hates.
Oh, did they have the Paul Chadwick and Jimmy Palmiotti come back?
Palmiotti is definitely on it. I'm pretty sure Chadwick is. I mean, that it was advertised long and hard that every person who ever worked on Deadpool was going to be on it.
Nice.
So, I mean, $10, you know, you get a bunch of little short stories, and it's entertaining, but I really do feel like it was an unnecessary gouge. I mean,
This is going to be the greatest, like...
the most important issue, number 27 in the history of comics. It's
That's
almost
pretty great,
like they're laughing at you while they're fucking you in the ass.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. It's also a great test, too, when you put that digital... Have you put that digital code on to buy yet?
No, I haven't.
When you put that digicode on, I'm really, really, really anxious to know like what people are willing to pay for it. Like
really.
that, you know, digital, because digital people are way less about like having to have like all the books. You know, obviously they're not collecting. So if you're getting Deadpool all the time, it's almost like you feel like you have to, because then you got that hole in your run, and it'll eat at you, and then before you know it, you'll be counting your steps and fucking brushing your teeth every 3 minutes. That's what it'll turn you into if you skip a book.
Yeah.
But I'm really interested to see how many people got it digitally, or like when you put a code on there, like what somebody's willing to pay for something like that.
Yeah,
That's
really.
just, you know, that's just going to go into their iPad and then taken away at will and possibly sucked up. The evil empire Amazon. That's something we didn't even talk about. Here's some news. I guess me being sick made me forget about this shit. But we'll talk about it in a second. Did you have something else to say about this Deadpool comic?
Other than just like what you were saying, the evil empire of Marvel, it's like they don't know kind of what they want to do, because it's like the whole purpose of a goddamn $10 book like this with all these bells and whistles and little fanboy service pieces is the collectability.
Yeah.
Like if you're not a Deadpool fan and don't give a shit about the history and don't want this as a nice collectible as part of your run, like we're just saying, I mean you're
not coming off the street to grab this issue.
And they're just gouging the loyalists again. That's my problem with it.
One of my
Creatively love the book. Not real happy with Marvel gouging.
One of my favorite
loyalists.
things too is like they really like to poke fun at DC. Like when they rebooted for the New 52, DC does it too, because DC was like, you know, this is the reboot. Now they're doing DC Now with the Teen Titans and Grayson and all this, but I really like how Marvel was like, we would never do this, and immediately did it. And then they made fun of DC for charging $7.99 for a Batman book. I was like, well, we'll charge $9.99. They made fun of DC for like having random prices, and then this month, in the same week that I had all 3 books, which Deadpool don't get for me, but 3 books on my pull list are all above it. But no, while speaking more of the evil empire is my most hated job on the planet, fucking Amazon buying Comixology.
Yeah.
So my fucking fever kept me from remembering that, but that's pretty big news.
It really is, yeah.
I don't read digital comics, but I mean, I think it's like one of those things where if I was to read digital comics, there's like the yin and yang of it where, you know, them being bought by Amazon means they're going to be promoted, and anybody with Kindle Fires.
Greater accessibility for comics.
It definitely could be, but then there's the other part of it is like now they're part of this big giant corporation where this is just going to be, even if it does great, like one of the smallest pieces of their business.
Yeah.
So like, are they going to care? And also, what's this going to do? Like, how's it going to change? Like, you know, the rumored Marvel pulling out and doing like their own shit. You know, I mean, this also seems like another way that because, you know, with Amazon also selling graphic novels and stuff, you know, on there, this seems like a power play by Comixology to where it kind of forces everyone into not pulling out. Yeah. Like, well, if you want your other books carried by Amazon, you can't take away your digital comics from us. Like, it seems like a corporate maneuver to, like, secure that. But I mean, I did hear, too, though, for people who do read digital, there are still, I guess, a few studios that their books like weren't really available through the Comixology app, but they do digital. Like I know for a while, Dark Horse, like they have their own app, and maybe Boom. I don't know. There's a few studios, but you can get them through Amazon. So even if you don't get them through Comixology, you can kind of get all your comics in the same place. So it probably will expand the digital marketplace, but I also think that, you know, I always am fearful of when the big guy takes over the little guy, just makes him part of the machine. You know, even though I don't read digital, it is, you know, a bit sketchy. But anyways, that was 2 minutes of news randomly thrown in there.
Back to you, Todd.
Final Marvel pull where you're going to the Millarverse again. With the Icon imprint, which I don't really know what's going to happen. Like, I mean, they got Powers after this comic wraps up. Are there any other Icon books?
No, Powers is it.
That's strange.
I think Powers is it. Yeah, it is weird. Yeah, I mean, they just let that fold. You know, that at the time that was their answer to Vertigo.
Yeah.
But now all the people that are at Marvel that would be doing Icon books are just doing Image books. So I guess they're just like, man, fuck it.
Yeah, Image just cut Marvel out of the creator-owned market pretty much.
And they've almost had DC. I mean, the Vertigo books now are not by like known guys or people that have done Vertigo books
there's
before.
Only a handful of them.
It's all like brand new. It's like whereas before, you know, I mean, like Brian K. Vaughan, it's like, of course, this new series will be there. Now, you know, it's the people that you've never heard of, like, you know, Snyder and Lemire, when they went there, kind of like getting their start. So I think Image is rolling. And there's other places too, man. Like I heard a lot of creators are starting books at Boom. Like a lot of these smaller places that are willing, that are willing to give the creators a bigger piece of the pie, just kind of get their name out there.
Sure,
are really cutting DC and especially Marvel out of the loop.
Yeah. Well, this is the penultimate edition to Kick-Ass.
A word you learn if you like comics.
Yeah, it's like, well, that's it. You hear a lot of that these days. It starts out with Hit Girl's final breaking out of the penitentiary. She has been drugged, and she's really, you don't see any way out of it for her character. She's got the goons standing over her. You got the motherfucker right there ready to cap her ass. But they're going to take her to a second location, and you finally get to see the Red Mist return, at least in kind of some respect. And he just whips out his gun and shoots all these guys, and gets plugged in the gut for his efforts. But he does get her out of there, and they escape, and he calls up, uses his old number, he calls up old Kick-Ass there.
Old Lazuski.
To help him out, Lazuski. So Dave is en route to their location, and he saves Hit Girl's ass from some cops, and it's a pretty badass moment. You can see him fight out of costume, and it looks like he kills somebody. I mean, they've had a history. He's not the murderous one of the team.
Yeah, Hit Girl doesn't give a fuck.
So yeah, the stakes are really high here, and he's had this girlfriend, this relationship he's been building through the Kick-Ass 3, and she has kind of had it with him, and she, at the very end, calls the cops to their location. So, like, the stakes are there. Hit Girl is pretty much, like, this is her final mission. She knows that she's, like, all of the mobsters are in one place. It's the only time they're going to be able to get a hit this size. So she's like, here, Kick-Ass. I've planned for every contingency. I have a copy of your costume in the Hit Cave. Yeah, they have a bust of Shakespeare on a little bookshelf here, and it reveals 2 poles, and she shows the Hit Cave, which he was unaware of up until now.
Nice.
It's decked out. She's got a boat.
Millar really walks the line in a lot of his books of paying homage and just kind of like ripping off.
Oh, yeah.
Kick-Ass does a great job of paying homage. I think Starlight, too.
Yeah.
There's other books that people that don't like him. There are other books where people are like, nah.
It gives a nod to it without being kind of stupid or silly. Yeah. Big Daddy's got this big truck here that says "fuck crime" on the back of it.
Nice.
So at the end of the issue, you see them escaping the Hit Cave with the boat and truck, and they're about to fuck crime, it looks like. So there's no telling who will survive till the end of this. There was a big moment in this issue, which I won't spoil, because...
I would like to read Kick-Ass 3 eventually. I've read the first 2, and, seen both of them.
Yeah, and for the moviegoers who will figure out in a couple of years when they see it finally happen.
Yeah, surely they'll be...
Hit Girl, by the time that comes out, Hit Girl will be of age, so people won't be people won't be so sketchy for liking her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Mark Millar, man, I gotta tell you, it's good business, but UK comic writers are some self-promoting motherfuckers.
Oh yeah, man.
You know, I mean, you think about, like, now, I mean, if you just go, like, Twitter or the internet, look at pictures, like, if you want to know, like, who's writing the book, what they look like, you can find out. But you don't search these motherfuckers out. You know what Mark Millar looks like, Grant Morrison,
yeah.
without having to, like, look far. It's like there's a picture of Millar in the book. It's like Millarverse.
Yeah, he's everywhere. He's just
There's
like,
a
you always
portrait.
see him, that smug,
Yeah.
he's got the hand on his chin. I'm Mark
I
Millar.
wonder what's going to happen after this is over. If now
I'm so
he's got this, he has this universe going on that's supposed to,
Yeah.
like, Kick-Ass is supposed to be, like, within the continuity of his
Oh,
universe.
totally. Like,
Like, I wonder
Starlight.
if, yeah, I wonder if these characters are gonna, like, show up at some point.
Well, that's
I wonder
one
if he's
thing.
saving it. I wonder if he's saving them for like one like Justice League type book, like in the far
Possibly.
future.
Like, Mark Millar has been dropping hints here and there, like on Facebook and Twitter. I saw there was a reveal for MPH, which is the next Millarverse book that's coming out, and he said Duncan Figueredo has drawn for the book, there's a splash page with every, like, surviving to that point Millarverse character. So something happens where they're all going to be in the same room, or maybe it's just like, hey, this is the Millarverse. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, there will be efforts taken. Well, he specifically said at the end of issue 8 is where it's going to become apparent that there is a bigger universe where
Nice.
they all inhabit. So
interesting.
I don't know if he'll take some of his older books, but I know that the three, like Kick-Ass, Starlight, and MPH, are all definitely like the Nemesis stuff. And
It'd be nice to see Hit Girl like on some sort of a team like that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's ambitious. You've not really seen much in the way of that on independent books. Like Image United, they did a little brief thing, and I don't know if those books even ever like all the way came out.
Yeah, I remember that.
There was an issue with like the final issues even making it print. So they did some sort of kind of Image Justice League once, but even more so within Image and Invincible, Robert Kirkman did a really good job of building a larger universe, and like there were other books in the Invincible universe. Well,
yeah,
like,
but you don't see like Walking Dead coming in there. And
right? No, exactly.
But that is kind of an interesting idea. Just one writer. All of my books are, self-encapsulated. That's cool.
I find this a tad bit disturbing, but the new Invincible like sold out. Like, you can't get final, like, Midtown, they sold their copies and stuff.
I've heard about this,
yeah, and I mean, spoilers, who knows, I haven't read one issue of it, but it's online, and coincidentally, it's the first one that sold out like that in a really long time, and, there's a rape in it, so that's kind of fucked up. Well, people are like, I gotta see this, but I think it's a reverse. I think a dude gets raped by a woman in it.
That is true.
And people are like, gotta see this. So it's sold out.
People get real up in arms anytime that comes up as a subject. Like, there's a huge controversy over that, and I know Mark Millar and other people have taken flack for that in the past for whatever reason. But so I think it's kind of the same thing here, but he turned the tables, so to speak.
Yeah, he turned the tables, which maybe people just like that, but like, dude gets raped by a chick. But I did. When I was looking online, when I was looking online, I was mildly disturbed when I was like, Invincible sold out. Why? And then I read the review and I was like, oh, dude got raped.
I mean, in literature, fucked up, disturbing sexual shit is artistic, and in fucking comics, it's fucked up. So whatever,
just,
like,
that's the thing. It's the community,
if it goes on to change the character, that's what's important. If it ends up being an important moment for the character, but I just thought it was funny. It never sells out, and it's like, oh yeah, something crazy must have happened. Yep, dude got raped. But
DC.
Yeah, on the DC where dude rapes are not happening.
Not yet. They broke that glass ceiling, Muji.
That's true.
It's coming to you.
Yeah, now it's going to be happening all the time. Yes. Yeah. But it's not a good segue out of that comic sold because there was a rape in it.
At least a bad taste in your mouth or mind.
It does.
Or butt.
That was a bad choice of words, I guess.
But from that, yes. How's that? A vile act to an act of love. There's your segue. We got Superman, Wonder Woman. Superman, Wonder Woman number 7. prelude number deuce to Superman Doomed. It's another prelude to Superman Doomed.
It's going to be a 5-part prelude. They're going to put that out as a trade. 1 year later, they will release the trade of Doom.
Yeah. But, you can see on the front, if you remember the last issue of Superman and Wonder Woman, they were inside of a fucking, like, nuclear, like, silo.
Yeah, and old Soups was reduced to, like, a corpse almost. So I'm interested to see what happens.
Him and Wonder Woman got severely fucked up. Superman was reversed to a corpse. You see on the front, he looks like zombie Soups.
Oh, yeah.
It looks pretty cool.
Black as Kyle.
Yes, this shows how it ties in. It's actually a little bit into the future where the book starts out, and they're just thinking back to the day that happened. And basically, since they recovered in the book, they haven't been able to spend a ton of time with each other because they both have to go and, you know, fight their crime and stop their evil, and they're each in their own places. But you get to see some pretty badass fighting in the book once again. You get to see actually bringing in, which I guess this is probably yes, there you go.
There's an actual ad for it. Nice.
Oh yeah, they're pumping up Ramita coming for sure.
I just can't wait for that last Lobdell issue to get out so I can put it on my list.
Yes. Fortunately, I think I'm gonna have to put that on my list because I think it's part of this event. So they got me one time. They're like, "We're gonna get you one time."
Yes, that
Lobdell
last
Superman.
one. We gotta wring every dollar out of that last issue.
Yeah, but you actually see start incorporating, which I heard was gonna start happening. Which might be a little bit of why Azrael and Chang are leaving Wonder Woman, which is sad, but they've actually incorporated Wonder Woman, like her continuity. They really don't do very much mention in any of the other books, like other than here and there about, you know, the fact that, you know, she's a goddess now and the fact that, you know, she has this family of gods from Mount Olympus, but you actually get to see one of them in here because Superman's got to get her healed, and he knows that, you know, it's going to take some medicine that nobody's got to do it. And so it's pretty cool, and you get to see some good flashback with them talking and more of their relationship, and then you also get to see a little bit more of like what the plan is for Doomsday and like why the fuck like he's there and what he's doing. I really hope they treat this in the way which hopefully they will. Well, I thought was awesome. Was it Greg Pak wrote that issue, the Villains Month issue about Doomsday, where Doomsday was basically like just like a horror story to like Kryptonian kids?
Yes.
Like that was the story. It was like he was a legend that people basically told, you know, their kids.
Yeah, he was the boogeyman.
Yeah, to get them to go to
culture. It was really fucking awesome.
That's pretty interesting. Yeah.
But yeah, they now you know they've actually brought him out, and I mean it's really just teasing like, you know, why Doomsday's there, and it appears as if there's some sort of agency that actually wants Doomsday there. So we'll see who the fuck that is. But it's pretty cool. I need to see something pretty awesome too, where you know, Clark and Diana are hanging out, and, you know, haven't hung out in a while, and she wants to do something fun, and he's like, what are we going to do that's fun? And you see they go to a dance club.
No, nice.
and they're yucking it up, so it's pretty cool. You get to see.
Don't see them in that setting.
Yeah, you get to see something different. They're just letting loose. You'd imagine they're probably pretty good dancers. I mean, if you can like a run.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you're about the most coordinated man of all time, so Superman could probably easily do like a one-man like breakdance crew. But of course he's Clark, so he's got the glasses on, and you know,
a little fumbling around every now and then.
Yes, and looks Clarkish. You know, is dressed Clarkish in the thing. Even though he's got a nice shirt on, they've got Clark is wearing like an astronomy shirt with a sun and a moon, and it's pretty crazy looking.
That's kind of funny.
And then Wonder Woman's basically dressed like a Wonder Woman, but she's got jeans on, and she's got a shirt that looks a little bit like her normal top, so it's pretty
Somebody
cool.
might be like, hey, wait, that's Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I really like how Charlie Soule's
That must be Superman,
a good
too.
job in this of like combining, you know. And he's done a little bit in She-Hulk too. Like I really love like Hawkeye, and I like, you know, the books that just are kind of like the day in the life books.
Yeah.
But I like how in here he's doing a combination of that and the epic stuff all in one. Like you get to see them hanging out, doing what they do when they have time to have the fun and games. But then you also, that's not all it is. You know, you also, it builds to them being some epic battles. So once again, awesome, man. One of
my favorite comics, dude. It's one of the very best, if not the very best, like later launch DC book. Like most of those have failed miserably, but this one has been great. And I'll do another book that definitely won't fail miserably. Well, before we get to that, we had one more because there was a pick
okay.
of the one that won't fail miserably is pick of the week. And
this one's over. So
it's over. Yeah, the miniseries tied to Forever Evil #6. Rogues Rebellion. I'd say a must-have piece if you got their Flash run. If the Manipal and Butcherletto
I've heard it's by
Flash.
far the best of the Forever Evil tie-in miniseries.
Yeah, it actually did something with the characters, you know. The rogues have to stand up and be heroes here in an unlikely scenario because of the crime syndicate's takeover of the world in Forever Evil. So you don't really get any advancement of the Forever Evil plot, but you do get the full closure of everything they started with the rogues in the original Flash run, and they're not on the title anymore, so it's very cool. You get to see the tie-up of Mirror Master and Glider. Like, nice. She was in a coma and was, like, left for dead, and she got her powers back. They're reunited. Pied Piper rejoins the team after seeing their heroism because he quit because he thought they were, too shitty of people.
Thought it was bullshit.
Yeah, and so, but, they all band back together. It's just really a fantastic issue. They have this nasty fight with Gorilla Grodd. But the rogues really show what they're made of, and more villains, just not just Gorilla Grodd, like Parasite's there, and you get the final, like, we're the rogues, we don't kill people, we'll do some dirty shit, we'll rob some banks, but we're a family till the end, and it really developed the characters, and nice little miniseries. I was real happy with it.
Sweet.
I'd be even more happy if the next fucking Forever Evil issue came out. But what do you know?
It's coming. I got Justice League's next week, and I believe the week after that, or 2 weeks after that's Forever Evil. So at least it's not that long from now.
So it's not a delay. It's just a really long release schedule, I guess.
It's just
back.
Oh, it was definitely a delay because there's solicits actually in this issue of Batman Eternal that I'm about to review that say, don't miss the exciting finale coming in March.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, because there's also Justice League 29 is coming out next week, and we're in 30 months, so.
Oh, dang, somebody screwed the pooch on that one.
I think it's just the art, like it always is. I think it's just the art. The same reason Superman Unchained, they announced the next issue's 3 months from now because Jim Lee
got busy.
Jim Lee draws how he wants. It's a pace at which Jim Lee draws.
Yeah.
Well, and on to the pick of the week, a much hyped up book, a much publicized book, a controversial move. The DC was going to weekly, but after reading this first issue, I don't think anybody's got anything to worry about. Holy shit. And if correct me if I'm wrong, Mood, this is going to be another, 52. They've got a year-long plan. It's going to be a 1-year book, 52 issues.
It's a 1-year book, and at the end of it, it ties straight into exactly where they're going to be at in the Batman, proper continuity.
Well, yeah. Well, first of all, it starts out...
takes place out of time, and then they drop it.
We're in 0 year right now in Batman still, so when 0 year is over, it's going to, I believe, catch back up with the book also.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, well, first of all, we open, and I have some complaints about sexism in comics. I'm subjected to a sexy shirtless photo
every ad of Arrow.
Each male cast member, and I've yet to get one of Felicity, and I've yet to get one.
That's 4-0
of Summer Glau. She's on that show. She's not there.
That's 4-0. Yeah.
They're trying to get that female.
Where's Felicity in the sports bra?
I mean, I'll take Thea at this point. I mean, fucking.
It's like taunting you. You like Arrow, don't you? Do you like this?
You like my smoldering sexy bod?
Sweat glistening off of my chest. That's what you want to see.
Yeah, nobody complains on Arrow and another training montage where dude's in his briefs. Boy, the world is so terrible to men.
But moving past that point, you really get the shock of the first page. This is how you do a first page of a comic. The end. So essentially the first page leads you to believe this is what's going to be happening at the end of Batman Eternal, 52 issues down the road. So exciting prospect. What you see is someone telling Bruce Wayne, all your allies have been slaughtered, your city is burning to the ground, and I've taken everything from you piece by piece. Now watch as you lose everything. While Gotham is in flames behind him, Bruce Wayne is crucified on the bat symbol, and the bat symbol is carved into his chest.
Oh, hell.
So, shit's going bad for Bruce.
That's what it looks like.
But then we flash forward to today, which is, I guess, the first we've seen of modern Gotham, at least with the Scott Snyder pen, since the 0 year. And another interesting thing about this book is how were they going to do, you saw these different writers, and I was thinking, well, maybe a writer's going to, take over each arc, but apparently that's not what's happening. Snyder and Tynion are apparently over it, and they have consulting writers Ray Fawkes, John Layman, and Tim Seeley.
I believe actually that's just the way they're going to run the credits, because it is like a thing where all of the mini stories tie into the overarching stories, but it is the individual guys. Like the way Snyder described it is, he said it's mostly Tynion's thing. Like he and Tynion came up with the idea and the big beats and how they're going to tie into Batman. Tynion is kind of the group leader, and basically what will happen is, like, say after the first arc's over, the second arc may be just randomly about anything. It could be about Mr. Freeze, and there's a couple of beats that'll have to be thrown in there to get the overall story going, but it'll be like Tim Seeley will write a 3-issue arc, but just tie it into what's going on. But I think that's the way, on all the solicits I've seen, they're going to credit it because the overall story,
have all the credits.
it's like the overall story is by Tynion and Snyder, and then the individual guys will write the book. So, I mean, I guess that is weird on the credits, but it is going to be individual people writing, and I think Snyder and Tynion wrote the first 4, I guess. And then after that, they're going to have the individual arcs. So.
Okay. Well, that's cool. Well, not to give too much away, but essentially you got Batman and Gordon in what appears to be a routine takedown of another Gotham freak. Professor Pig is causing havoc in the Gotham subway. But things don't go exactly as we thought would. Well, they might be expected to go. Gordon has this rookie that he's coaching along, who's just joined the force, and it's like his first mission, and so he gets to witness all this shit go royally haywire, and it ends up with James Gordon in handcuffs, and that's all I'm gonna tell you, and that's all you need to know. You just need to put this on your pull list and sit back and enjoy the weekly goodness of Batman Eternal. There you go, Muji. I know you've been salivating to get your hands on it.
Yeah, it's the first time since I guess we've been getting weekly pulls now for about exactly 2 years, or right at it, a little bit more. We started, the new 52 issues, I guess like maybe 5 or 6 was
it
on
was
the
very
stand.
early into it.
We had to go back and get the first couple, which it wasn't that bad. I remember going back and getting the first. I remember having to pay like $30 for Batman issues 1 through 4, and it was like, this is an outrage. And it'd be like now, number 1's worth like $75. I guess it wasn't.
Never was.
Yeah, but yeah. So it's been about 2 years, and this is the first time that you've ever got a Bat book.
Yes.
And I do not have said Bat book. So now the roles have been reversed, where I've got to wait. I got to get the text.
I was a little bit daunted by the weekly thing, so I might wait. I'm really interested in the story, but I'll probably wait for trades or something to come out.
Yeah, and hopefully those will come out quick with this being weekly, going through everything. I mean, I think I've already sent a preview for, Batman Eternal trades, so hopefully they're coming out quicker than their normal stuff does.
Yeah, let's hope.
But at least there's $3, so the weekly $3, because I really feel like you probably could get a lot of people to pay $4 because it's Batman. It ties into Batman proper. But everything I heard, we'll see the official numbers, but I heard it sells great, man. A bunch of people online that have comic shops are almost everyone that had Batman. Like if Dan wasn't getting it, I would have had to have gotten it just to keep up with
that's
it.
One of those books.
Yeah, but almost everybody that gets Batman proper, they said also, at least for this first week, got it, maybe even more. So it looks like it's going to be a hot seller. And I guess in the business idea of DC, I know it's part of their things is we'll cancel 2 or 3 books that aren't selling and just have a book with Batman every week in their place.
Yeah.
It seems like that would work. Now when we get down to doing 1 year later, I doubt the sales on that are going to stay good. I don't even know if they'll be good at first because I don't think people care that much. And then also, almost the same too with the other weekly book, the Earth 2 book. It's is Earth 2... I don't know, Earth 2 is pretty popular, but is it popular enough to do a weekly?
Yeah.
But this Batman is one that you're 100% it's going to succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what are you guys looking at next week, yeah?
Well, speaking of 0 year...
We got
Batman.
Savage City.
Batman number 30. That's the big one I got. I was looking. I got quite a few. I think I have 7 or 8 pulls. I got it. I got Justice League. I have American Vampire. A couple other books. I have at least 6 books, I think. So
I got the end of Superior Spider-Man 31. Looking forward to that.
Sweet. I'll have, of course, Batman Eternal, number 2.
I believe I have the Harley Quinn. So
you
that's
do have a Harley Quinn.
Yeah, I do have 4 DC books, so we got that. I think I have a couple Image, but I can't remember what they are.
Smallville is coming back with a new arc. It'll be
Nice.
introducing Green Lantern into the Smallville universe, it looks like. And
also Smallville's kind of like the indies too, because they're in a little thing, they can take a month off. So, sometimes it's kind of nice to get the little break.
Yeah, I don't really see any indies that you have next week.
Maybe got no indies.
no image for sure.
Yeah, it's the only indies that I get. And really, they're not that indie. So
Marvel, we've got Amazing X-Men new issue, Thor, God of Thunder, another new issue, another Winter Soldier: The Bitter March. I don't see much. Oh, you got a Moon Knight. Looks like no,
that's a reprint. Maybe I'll get my Moon Knight that I haven't gotten yet, but
delayed number 2.
Yeah. Well, I mean, our shop just got shorted. I don't think it got anywhere. Diamond just stuck a foot up the ass
to that store sometimes.
Yeah, but next week will be cool. More Batman Eternal, so that'll be, as long as it's as good as it looks like it's going to be, that'll be a weekly highlight. And then new Batman proper next week, and then we'll see Todd again before we die.
Yeah.
Yeah. So until then, go get your pulls.